When we hear the word Bleach, there are so many cool things that pop into our minds. Awesome character designs, great storytelling, cool special abilities, powerful villains, you name it, and this anime and manga has it in abundance. The brainchild of legendary mangaka Tite Kubo, this series has spawned a franchise that has extended well beyond its medium into movies, toys, and video games. Despite the manga having ended in 2016, the series remains as popular today as it was when it first came out in 2001. During this period, Bleach has become one of the biggest selling mangas in the world. It follows the adventures of a young adult called Ichigo Kurosaki, who's able to see beings from the spiritual world. His world is turned upside down after he encounters a soul reaper named Kuchiki Byakuya, who lends him her power and turns him into a substitute Shinigami. What follows is a wild supernatural adventure as Ichigo grows from strength to strength. He discovers his true heritage and fights to save the world while protecting the ones closest to him. In today's video, we'll be discussing one such threat that he and his friends had fought against in their early adventures. Although Ichigo never directly fights Harribel, she belongs to a group called the Espada, who consist of the strongest hollows to ever exist that truly gave Ichigo and his friends a run for their money. She's well loved by fans owing to her badass personality and sexy design. Prior to the introduction of Unohana as the first Kenpachi, Harribel was the strongest female character we had come across in Bleach at the time. Her strength is justified as a Vasto Lorde and an Arrancar that was deemed strong enough by Aizen to be ranked at number 3. With the 1,000 Years Blood War arc underway and the spotlight being dominated by the Stern Ritters, it's easy to sometimes forget how truly powerful and cool the Espada were. In this video, we'll be doing a deep dive regarding Harribel's nature, origin, powers, and everything else you need to know about her, so that by the end of it, you'll come out with not just a better understanding of her, but with a greater knowledge of Bleach as a whole. So, without further ado, sharpen those zanpakutos as we head into the desolate wastelands of Hueco Mundo, where it's either kill or be killed. Origins and early days. Long before she was one of the strongest Arrancars to ever exist, Harribel was a Vasto Lorde who roamed the vast deserts of Hueco Mundo. As the absolute pinnacle of Hollow's evolution, Harribel was a rebel right from the very start. In the desolate wastelands of Hueco Mundo, where it's the survival of the fittest, she refused to adhere to this law. One of the theories for a Manos' evolution states that they must cannibalize other Manos to increase their power levels, and while Harribel most likely did the same in an age long gone to become a Vasto Lorde, she absolutely abhors the idea of preying on the weak to become stronger. She tells this to her newest follower at the time, an Ajuhas named Emilu Apache, who's shocked to see that Harribel and the rest of her followers don't devour him as he tries to run away from them. We see her at Las Noches talking to Berrigan Luisenbairn, the Emperor of Hueco Mundo, and the future Secundo Espada. In a testament to her strength, Berrigan asks her to join his army or live out her days in a corner of Hueco Mundo so she wouldn't interfere with his plans. Even when Harribel ruthlessly cuts down one of Berrigan's followers right in front of him, he does little more than rebuke her before offering her safe passage. Later on in their lair, Harribel and her group are attacked by the same Manos that she had cut down in Las Noches. However, this time, the Hollow seems to have received a substantial power boost, which is soon attributed to him becoming an Arrancar. Thanks to his newfound strength, the Hammerhead Arrancar, as he's called due to the design of his mask, is able to overpower Harribel and her followers, despite her being a Vasto Lorde. Seeing that her attacks were having little to no effect on her foe, she tells her followers to flee for their lives while she holds Hammerhead back for their escape. Just as Harribel has made her peace and is satisfied with the fact that her subordinates have escaped, they reciprocate her feelings for them by returning and aiding her against the Hammerhead Arrancar. Despite their renewed vigor and reinforcement, the Arrancar proves too strong for them. However, just as he's about to strike the final blow to kill Harribel, their fight is interrupted by Sosuke Aizen, who effortlessly slays the Hammerhead Arrancar before turning to Harribel to speak. He remarks that while he had given the now-deceased Manos Arrancar abilities, he had failed to give him a brain to control them. He muses briefly on Harribel's idea of sacrifice and offers her a place by his side, promising her the necessary power and strength to protect her subordinates. She accepts Aizen's offer and leaves with him. We do know that he transforms her into an Arrancar, and since she's one of the strongest Vasto Lordes already, her Arrancar form is therefore undoubtedly on a different level. This is how Tyr Harribel, the renegade Vasto Lorde, becomes the Tres Espada, one of the strongest beings in all the 3 realms. Character design. Kubo really excels at drawing attractive characters, whether they're male or female, and Harribel is no exception. She stands at 175 centimeters with tanned skin and a curvaceous body. Her Espada uniform covers half of her face, with it extending to her arms and exposing the bottom half of her breasts. She wears a standard white Espada Hakama type of pants, which is held up by a black sash around her waist. Below her upper tunic are the remnants of her hollow mask, which cover the lower half of her face and extend all the way down her neck, partially covering her breasts. Her Espada number is tattooed on the side of her right breast. Harribel also has messy blonde hair and 3 braided locks. Her eyes are olive green in color and give a piercing look. Just like her mask, her hollow hole is concealed as well. It's located where her womb would be and is covered by the black sash around her waist. As a Vasto Lorde, her appearance is pretty much the same, except that her entire body is covered with white hollow bones, except for her eyes and hair. Being the only female, Espada Harribel's design embodies her strength and feminine energy to the max. Harribel's fierce appearance perfectly complements her personality. Her form drastically changes in her Resurrection, which we will discuss later in the video when we discuss her powers and abilities. Personality and motivation. Harribel is an extremely layered character that cannot be easily described in a black and white way. We've already discussed how she's different from the rest of her kind. She doesn't believe in sacrificing others to gain more power, but that doesn't in any shape or form mean that she isn't averse to killing fellow Hollows. She just believes that she would rather achieve her goals as a group with everybody's combined effort than just feeding on the weak as a shortcut. However, therein lies something of a contradiction to her character. You see, while she doesn't believe in devouring the weak, it seems this altruism doesn't extend to how she treats those who are weaker than her and don't belong to her group of allies. In her fight against Toshiro Hitsugaya, the captain of the 10th Division of the Gotei 13, she constantly looks down on him, stating that she couldn't fathom how her fractions had lost to someone with his power levels. During the course of their battle, she constantly reminds him that she's not even using her full power. Harribel taunts him, telling Hitsugaya that due to the nature of their powers, she could attack him from anywhere at any time. She displays a great deal of pride and arrogance in her abilities, even threatening Berrigan, who was ranked above her as an Espada, for disrespecting Aizen and Captain Commander Yamamoto for defeating her fractions. Both of these individuals are more powerful than her. Yamamoto at least most certainly would destroy her, but she shows no hesitation in picking fights with them. This leads us to look at another important character trait of hers, which is that Harribel can be extremely vengeful and hot-headed despite being calculating and observant for the most part. We know this because when Grimmjow and Ichigo are battling, instead of joining in, she chooses to quietly observe the fight to gain insight. She also pays close attention to Aizen's warnings about not taking Ichigo and his friends lightly, and chides Neutra when he dismisses their master's warnings. In her fight with Hitsugaya, she's able to quickly analyze his ability and figure out his weaknesses. For an individual who belongs to a group that has little to no morality, Harribel seems to have a great deal of it. She's extremely loyal to the point that she's not afraid of chastising her fellow Espadas if she finds them criticizing Aizen. Before he betrays her at the end of the fake Karakura town arc, Harribel is shown displaying the greatest amount of loyalty out of all of the Espada towards Aizen. While most Espada have their own agendas for being with Aizen, we feel that only Harribel sticks with him out of pure loyalty for saving her from the Hammerhead Arrancar and fulfilling his promise to her regarding granting her the power to protect the ones she cares about by making her an Arrancar. She also probably takes great pride in being named the Tres Espada by her master. Her vengeful streak, which we mentioned earlier, is once again seen when she goes after Aizen after he betrays her, despite showing extreme loyalty to him initially. In an interview, Kubo stated that Harribel had a great deal of respect for Coyote Stark. She also greatly admired Grimmjow for his relationship with his Fraction, even if she didn't really approve of his personality. Her motivations initially are gaining strength together with her Fractions before it turns to serving Aizen and helping him achieve his goals, and finally, it's to rule Hueco Mundo and fill the power vortex created by Berrigan and Aizen. While most Espada are disconnected from their humanity, as is natural to their kind, due to the range of emotions that Harribel displays, she appears far more human than her peers. Powers and abilities. As the strongest Arrancar in existence, Harribel's powers are nothing to sneeze at. Remember when Hitsugaya said that if Aizen ever assembled 10 Vasto Lorde level Menos, Soul Society would be doomed? Harribel is not just stronger than any Vasto Lorde, she's the top 3 Menos during the fake Karakura town arc, and after Coyote Stark and Berrigan's death, she's the strongest Hollow currently active. Let's take a look at what makes her such a dangerous individual. Sonido. Sonido is a movement technique utilized by hollows, and it's equivalent to a Shinigami's Shunpo and a Quincy's Hirenkyaku. It involves an Erenkar converting their internal Reiatsu into something that's entirely different to achieve this effect. It allows Erenkars to achieve extremely high-speed movements, enabling them to easily catch up with both Shunpo and Hirenkyaku users. Another great thing about Sonido is the fact that since the user doesn't let out an external Reiatsu or consume Reishi while performing this technique, it's virtually undetectable to those who rely on Reiatsu detection, making it perfect for stealth. Amongst the Erenkars, Harribel is considered a master of Sonido, making her one of the fastest Erenkars in existence. Sero. Like all Erenkars, Harribel has access to the Sero ability, which allows a hollow to fire a concentrated beam of spiritual energy at their target. While we only see her using a yellow Sero, which she fires in a wide arc, it's obvious that she has access to the more powerful Seros like Sero Oscuras, which Erenkars use in their Resurrection, and Gran Rey Sero, which is a Sero that's fired after being mixed with an Erenkar's blood. It's not unusual for Erenkars to have their own unique Seros, as seen in the case of Coyote Stark's Sero Metralata or Mashiro Kuna's Mashiro Super Sero, and we believe that her yellow Sero is something similar due to its color and unique firing technique. However, Tite Kubo has yet to elaborate on the name of this ability. What we can say is that since it's a Sero fired by a top-ranked Espada, it's bound to be powerful enough to bend space around it. Enhanced Hiero. With this ability, an Erenkar's skin literally becomes armor itself as it's hardened to an extreme degree without the loss of movement or agility. A Hiero is strong enough to tank a hit from a Shinigami's Zanpakuto, so that should give you a measure of how tough an Erenkar's skin is thanks to this ability. Unlike a Sero or a Sonido, this ability is in a constantly released state, meaning an Erenkar doesn't need to do anything special to activate it. In Harribel's case, since she's amongst the strongest Erenkars, we see her Hiero being able to save her from 2 slashes from an Ascendant Aizen, who himself expresses slight surprise that he has had to cut her twice. And despite this, she actually even survives the encounter. In her battle against Hitsugaya, when he encases her in ice, using Hyoten Hyakaso, she survives with barely any injuries despite him claiming that his technique would end her life. Despite Neutra claiming that he has the strongest Hiero amongst all the Espada, we can confidently say that Harribel's Hiero is definitely stronger than his and is one of the strongest overall amongst all the Erenkar. Immense Reiryoku. We all know how much Reiryoku a captain-level Shinigami possesses and what they're capable of. A Vasto Lorde is supposed to have a Reiryoku that is greater than that of a captain-class Shinigami. That should put into perspective what an Erenkar's spiritual energy levels would be, especially one that's as powerful as Harribel. Even while suppressing her Reiryoku within her Zanpakuto, she's able to fight on equal terms with a captain and multiple vice-captain-level Shinigami. So great is her spiritual prowess that she's forbidden from releasing her Zanpakuto within the fortress of Las Noches, as the mere act of doing so would level the massive fortress. Master Swordsman. Despite not being trained in any formal sword training school like Shinigamis, due to the fact that Hollows, for obvious reasons, don't have schools like that, Harribel is an exceptional swordsmaster. She's able to not just hold her own, but overpower Hitsugaya, who is widely considered a prodigy in sword fighting. The fact that she's ambidextrous adds to her prowess as a swordswoman, as she's able to switch her blade hand at will, leaving little to no opening for her opponent to exploit. This also allows her to strike at opponents using unusual angles and exploit their weaknesses, making her virtually impossible to overpower using merely bladed weapons. Resurrection. Tiburon. Her sword has a wide blade that's hollow in the middle, and she releases the seal on it by using the word hunt, while holding the weapon in front of her with the blade pointing downwards. She's engulfed in a ball of water which she slashes apart and steps out in her Resurrection form. Her regular outfit vanishes and is replaced by the remnants of her mask becoming a collar, with it extending to barely cover her breasts. She also gains 2 spaulders with a large shark fin design. A spine type of formation runs from below her navel all the way to the bottom of her breasts. Harribel also gains a pair of white arm guards that are once again shaped like shark fins. Her lower half is covered by a black undergarment, and over it, she wears a skirt made out of hollow bones that look like gills. A thin white scarf flows from her neck, which once again resembles a shark fin. Her legs are protected by knee-length sabatons that continue with the shark motif. On her right hand, she now carries her Zanpakuto Tiburon in its released form. It's a large, oversized sword that has gill-shaped slits on its side and is made to vaguely resemble a shark. Her hollow mask completely disappears, and instead, she has 2 blue lightning bolt-shaped tattoos running across her cheek. It's to be noted that her Espada ranking tattoo disappears as well. She gains the ability to create and manipulate immense amounts of water at will. Resurrection abilities. Trident. Harribel infuses her sword with spiritual energy, causing it to glow yellow, which she then fires at her opponents in a series of 3 consecutive attacks. If it makes contact with anything, this attack is able to cut opponents or objects into 2 with ease. Hirviendo. This ability allows Harribel to boil any water or ice-based attack fired towards her, deflecting it in the process. This essentially makes most attacks of this element against her useless. Lagota. Using this technique, Harribel is able to fire highly pressurized water at her opponents at tremendous speed. The water for this attack is generated around the gills of her sword, which then fires in the shape of shark teeth. She's able to fire multiple projectiles like this with enough force to demolish a building. There seems to be no limit to how many she can fire at a time or for how long. Cascada. Owing to her vast Rei Ryoku, Harribel is able to produce a tremendous amount of pressurized water in the air. She can then release this water from a height, giving it the same power that a flood has, sweeping away everything standing in its path if it's not crushed by the weight of the water. We've seen Harribel produce enough water to drown entire city blocks with this spell. Who are the Tres Bestias? The Tres Bestias is the name given to her 3 fractions, Emilu Apache, Francesca Mila Rose, and Cyan Sung Sun. The 3 of them have been with Harribel since her earliest days, and unlike most Espada who are considered to be evolved from Vasto Lordes, these 3 Arancars are most likely created from Ajuhas level Menos. The 3 of them have the ability to give rise to an entirely new being called Aeon by combining 3 of their own severed limbs. This creature is basically a chimera combining the aspects of 3 female Arancars. It is a being with immense power but little to no intelligence. It's shown overpowering Lieutenant-class Shinigamis effortlessly. The 3, along with Ion, are finally defeated by Captain Yamamoto after he gives them what he refers to as a slight toasting. What happened to Harribel during and after the 1,000 Years Blood War arc? After Aizen was defeated, Harribel took the mantle of leadership in Hueco Mundo and governed the Hollows for a time. She was, however, badly defeated by Yuhavok when the Quincy Emperor invaded Hueco Mundo. For reasons unknown, she was spared and instead imprisoned within the Silburn, while the Arancars and Hollows were recruited forcibly by the Quincy into their army. After Yuhavok's defeat, we're told that she resumes her role as the ruler of Hueco Mundo alongside Nell, another former Tres Espada. Marvelous verdict! While the rest of her compatriots have perished, Harribel still endures even after the final arc of the series. This isn't due to just dumb luck. It actually speaks volumes about her mental and physical prowess to ensure her survival. Therefore, it's not a doubt that she was able to survive long enough to evolve into a Vasto Lorde, considering the rarity of such Menos. Harribel's character development from an idealistic Vasto Lorde to the ruler of Hueco Mundo is extremely well crafted, and we feel that Kubo really understood his audience by not killing her off. While initially her design seems to scream fan service, we find out that she's not just sexy, but equally deadly as well. There are 2 women in Bleach that immediately come to mind when you think of the word badass. One is Unohana Retsu as a Kenpachi, the other is Tear Harribel. While Harribel had very little role to play in the 1,000 Years Blood War arc, we hope that she'll be featured more prominently in the Hell arc if Kubo decides to ever work on it. For now though, we've come to the end of this video. We cover a ton of Bleach-related content on our channel, Marvelous Anime, so be sure to check out the rest of our videos. From lore-related content to character analysis and even fan theories, we've got it all. What's your favorite Harribel moment, and which other Espada would you like us to cover next? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and thanks for watching this video right till the very end. We hope to see you soon in the next one. Until then, stay safe and stay marvelous.